Welcome to the pharmaphorum podcast. My name's Dominic Tyre and I'm pharmaphorum's creative and editorial director. In this instalment, I spoke to Michael Smyth, who's medical director at Galapagos UK. The affiliate was only established last year and Michael took up his role in February 2020. So of course we started with the impact of COVID on both his role and the company. Then, with RNA-based technology hitting the headlines in recent months due to its use in COVID vaccines, we looked at the version of that Galapagos uses and how it can produce compounds that might alter the course of a disease. You can find more details of this episode, including a download link for the podcast, and information about other instalments in the series at pharmaphorum.com/podcast. The pharmaphorum podcast is also available on iTunes, Spotify, Acast, Stitcher and Podbean, where you can find and subscribe to it by searching for pharmaphorum. So Michael, welcome to the pharmaphorum podcast. Perhaps we can start with, if I could ask you to give an introduction to Galapagos and the 2020 establishment of Galapagos UK.
Thanks very much for inviting me, Dominic. Galapagos is a biotechnology company that was founded in Benelux 21 years ago and started its commercialization efforts in Europe in late 2019. And Galapagos UK was founded in 2020. I was the second employee, joining in February. The company's goal is first and foremost to improve the lives of patients with unmet medical needs. And we do this by using a novel discovery platform to identify new targets for small molecules to address conditions where there's an unmet need from current treatments.
And in terms of your own background, it was, prior to Galapagos, more focused on the big pharma, on the pharma side of the sector. What made you decide to make the move from pharma to biotech?
I think two phrases stood out during the recruitment process. Firstly, there was an opportunity that my boss gave me, which was to join a company to build a department and have fun doing it. And also that our chief commercial officer said that what he was looking for was expert rebels. So people who had a depth of knowledge about the pharmaceutical industry, but were interested in the opportunity to do things a little bit differently and to try out different approaches.
And so what does your current role actually entail, Michael?
So my role is to establish the medical department in the UK. We work on a triad model of market access, commercial and medical. And what I've been doing over the past year is hiring a team of head office medical advisors and field-based medical science liaisons to support the two other functions in preparing to market our first commercial medicine in the UK. It also changed partway through the year when Galapagos and Gilead decided to amend their agreement, and we have also recently transferred over a cohort of employees from Gilead into the Galapagos team, and we're now in the process of creating a unified medical department integrating those two teams.
So I suppose both in terms of that timing then, both in terms of integrating the Gilead team and then trying to build up your own team at Galapagos, there's one major challenge clearly for a lot of that like many of us. You won't be able to meet many of your new colleagues face to face yet. Can you tell us a bit about that and what sort of impact the COVID pandemic had both on your role and then more widely at Galapagos?
I think we had a bit of an advantage at Galapagos in that the company had already embraced new technology, and we had just integrated an enterprise version of Zoom into our office infrastructure before the lockdown started. So we were able to pivot to the virtual world very effectively. What we then had to adapt was the recruitment processes. So I had to get to doing screening calls by video, setting up virtual assessment centres where we asked candidates to give a presentation over Zoom and then break out into smaller rooms and maybe 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 interviews. So all of my recruitment was done that way. I have had opportunities over the year to actually meet people in person, and reassuringly, those real life encounters showed that we had got the recruitment right and that we've got a good fit in the team, and that we're working very well together.
And thinking about that virtual recruitment process, I imagine we're going, as an industry, we're certainly going to be seeing that continue for a while, and maybe it'll be one of the pandemic-imposed behaviours that continues with us in some shape or form. Can you tell us what worked well in terms of virtual recruitment, and I suppose, or is there anything you would do differently another time with it?
I think what worked well is the degree of flexibility, both recruiters and the candidates, mean that you can schedule the initial contacts very easily because you don't have travel time to get together. It's also much easier to convene an interview panel because you don't need to get all of the members of the panel together in the same office at the same time. You could join in from wherever you happen to be. I think what we've learned is to have a plan about what we're looking for in the candidates. We've got better with our briefs on the presentations, made them more applicable to the role we're asking them to do, and also assigning individual tasks to the interview panel. So one person questioning, one person taking notes, and using that against a predefined competency framework, I think has made the process a lot more robust over the year.
And you were talking earlier around the triad model of expertise you're looking to bring in. But in terms of building your own team, what sort of mix of roles were you looking to recruit?
So I think we had that template of people who had the potential to build an organisation, who had expertise but were willing to try new approaches. And we've got a mix of people. I did go for experienced MSLs, both in terms of time in the role and in the therapy areas that we were going to be working in. But equally have brought on a completely new entrant to the pharmaceutical industry who joined from a surgical training program in the NHS. I think the key thing has been looking for compatibility as the team has expanded, and each member joining has helped shape the type of people that we're looking for, so that we have a complementary set of skills, but also a group of people that get on well and function effectively as a team.
In terms of that, just thinking about the balance between maybe experience in the role you're recruiting for, and then experience in the particular therapy areas within which they'd be working on. Do you give greater weighting to one or the other, or is the decision-making process a little bit more nuanced than that?
I think that the key is we're looking for complementary skills. So someone with a lot of experience of being an MSL can give us insights into effective ways of working and planning and strategies for making contact with busy healthcare professionals. Someone with a lot of experience in the therapy area can give us insights onto the current treatment paradigms and the patient pathways. Equally, the new entrant from the NHS can tell us a lot about how things work within the system at the moment in terms of formularies and training, and where there may be areas for improvement there.
And so we've seen RNA-based technology hit the headlines recently due to its use in COVID vaccines. Could you tell us a bit about Galapagos' own work in this area with its focus on gene silencing and how that plays within drug discovery?
Certainly. So Galapagos' platform is based on a concept of looking for chronic diseases with a major impact on patients where there are unmet medical needs. The first step is to design a cell-based assay giving an indication of disease activity, and then using proprietary technology to deliver silencing RNA using adenoviral vectors to knock down individual genes in those cellular assays and looking for beneficial changes in the disease phenotype. Once you've done that, you can identify small molecules that can inhibit the same target, and then you can move into a more standard clinical development program looking for therapeutic benefit.
And how are drug developers using this to produce compounds that alter the course of a disease?
So the intention here is to identify a target within the cell where if you can inhibit the activity of a particular enzyme, you'll be able to alter the disease state and you'll be able to reduce disease activity. And we're looking for novel targets which haven't been addressed by existing therapies that potentially offer an advantage over them.
In terms of the process then of looking for those novel targets and looking at different ways to alter the course of a disease, are there particular challenges that the industry can face in terms of then when it comes to launching more innovative therapies in the UK?
I think that takes us back to having the triad approach, that we obviously need to have a sound scientific platform. We need to have the evidence base, and that would be the role of the medical department. We need to make sure that the information is conveyed to the right customers, and that is done with our commercial team. But of paramount importance is getting the market access, so being able to present value messages, to be able to navigate the reimbursement system, for example, to be able to present a coherent case to NICE, demonstrating that your new intervention is cost effective in the target population.
And presumably that's quite a challenge in terms of novel targets and new innovative therapies. How easy is it to generate the type of evidence that the bodies like NICE are going to need for things like RNA-based drugs?
The challenge is being able to understand the current treatment paradigm, where there are unmet needs, and to do that you need to talk to patient groups and clinicians in the field to understand the patient pathway, the current therapeutic options, and where they're looking for improvements. You need to integrate that information as early as you can into your clinical development program, and also make sure that you have evidence from a representative population of the countries where you're looking for that endorsement by the reimbursement agencies.
And how amenable, if that's the right way of putting it, are HTA bodies at the moment to these types of evidence? Do they accept that that's what they need to be looking at, or are they still approaching that area?
I think actually another beneficial effect of the transition to virtual technology has been the ability to engage more constructively with bodies such as NICE. We've been able to approach them and discuss scientific advice on our modelling approaches for our technology, and because of the flexibility that technology such as video conferencing gives you, it's been able to have a number of constructive meetings with them that have really helped us produce a submission which was of high quality and met their needs, and led to a beneficial outcome.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you think we'll see more of those sorts of virtual meetings continue, even when, fingers crossed, we return to more of a sense of normality around how business is conducted?
I think it does offer the opportunity both for the applicant companies and the health technology bodies to be more efficient in their use of time and to exchange information more quickly, which I think will ultimately lead to better quality submissions, faster reviews, and hopefully quicker access to novel medicines for patients.
So lastly, Michael, then can you tell us what's next for Galapagos UK and I suppose also for RNA-based drugs?
So Galapagos UK is in the process of commercialising its first medicine. We have a refocused pipeline where we're looking at inflammatory diseases, fibrotic conditions, and chronic kidney disease. And we're continuing to develop a number of compounds in those areas. And we're looking forward to expanding our portfolio to include both in-house developed products, but potentially in-licensed products as well.
Michael, thank you very much for joining me on the pharmaphorum podcast. And that concludes episode 35 of the pharmaphorum podcast and my discussion with Galapagos UK's Michael Smyth. You can find more details of this episode, including a download link for the podcast and information about other instalments in the series at pharmaphorum.com/podcast. The Pharmaphorum podcast is also available on iTunes, Spotify, Acast, Stitcher and Podbean, where you can find and subscribe to it by searching for Pharmaphorum. And don't forget to visit our website to sign up for daily or weekly email pharmaceutical news and analysis bulletins, and follow us on Twitter, where we are at Pharmaphorum.